Hey guys, quick announcement. I have been and will be collaborating with the very talented artist Nasha Toby on this project. He has been helping me a lot, spitballing ideas as I write, asking great questions like you guys, and above all else, designing and drawing some of the fauna for Eucrasia. Some I've designed or written, and some are all his own, so just have to announce that. Please check out his stuff. Nasha Toby does some really awesome horror and TTRPG work for hire too, so check him out. But yeah, I'll let his designs speak for themselves. In the nothing before creation, the growing in the abyss, the world Eucrasia was formed. Upon its surface rippled the ambition of life yet born. Life which soon crawled, erupted, spewed, and fell upon the same fleshy ground to quickly fulfill its role and earn its existence. All of Eucrasia's more dour, ambitious, or inventive sentient life would spawn by the great wound's design. But for the primordial spawn, they would ooze up from deep layers as evolutionary byproducts. Humble creatures of drive, they would spread far across the venerable landscape in an exotic pulse. Some have pondered whether they were originally the internal cellular vanguards of the planet itself. Maybe a displaced immune system pushed outwards, but no amount of phlegmatic research has suggested as such. Eucrasia would be more neatly divided in the 10th to 12th ages, but for our sake, to cut the fat, we will just be covering the creatures of Cadus Agros, the Carnage Fields, the raw and supple skinlands of the north, future home of the Sanguine. The Fields of Carnage are made up of tender flesh, swaying galleries of hair, bone spires, and flowing red streams. It is a primarily flat area, though great mounds of pus-endowed meat create rolling hills that stretch on for miles at a time. Nooks and crannies made from folds on skin overlapping, and the bone-shrike forest protrude up with awe-inspiring heights. Different layered plateaus become a staircase of muscle fiber to catch blood rain and skyfall fluids that trickle into scattered pores, draining them and recycling them back into vaporous sweat through gates and openings. These fields are the hunting grounds and humble homes of many creatures. Within this biome, the fauna's characteristics tend to be decided by their diet and their proximity to skeletal or flesh-abundant areas. Sufo. This quadrupedal omnivore is a slow-moving passive hunter. Make no mistake, its passive nature is by no means an indication of its harmlessness. The Sufo possesses a highly dense mass of flesh folds on its back. This thick layer of skin both acts as protection from attackers, but also its means of attack. At its front is a long, dexterous trunk appendage used to filter food and grab it. This trunk can wrap around potential prey, soon to be dragged and stuffed under one of its many heavy flesh folds, suffocating the creature. The folds also seal a lot of moisture and can preserve caught meals for later, should food be scarce, the cadaver lasting for days without fouling. It is a solitary creature, making deep sonorous breaths as it moves. It rests at main, or the glowing time, while at zero, in the dull time, it slowly trots about, searching for stray scraps or sleeping victims for its suffocating folds. Our next creature is the tatac. Agile and lean, this swift plains hunter is generally found among hair follicle fields darting through the tall reeds. It possesses sharp, thin legs that lead to needle-like points. These points gently dig into the planet's surface without tearing the skin, but deep enough to find stable purchase. Its pale body resembles that of a misshapen lump, creamish pink, while its legs and slender head are dark black or brown. This colouring allows them to blend in with the hayfields as they crouch low once they've caught sight of their prey. The tatac hunts in packs of 3 with basic coordination, 2 to flush out the prey, while a third swoops in for the final blow. This blow being a swift javelin-like strike with its immensely sharp head, skewering anything in its path once it reaches full speed. They drink through thin openings in their head, sapping the liquids of their impaled meal. The name, tatac, came from the sound they make as they rise from their low hunting position, their knobbly legs clattering together before surging forward. This sound is less a warning and more a final confirmation of what's to come. They hunt mostly slow-moving prey, using their speed to outmaneuver and confuse them, with vormlings a common source of sustenance. The glutrop. If you were to scan the letting fields or nearby horizon, you would probably see one of these without even noticing. The glutrop's body can differ between types, but all bear similar anatomical characteristics, such as its conical opening facing skywards and thin swaying limbs which they use when moving. What sets this creature apart from almost all other fleshland life is that it lives in dual states of being. See, the glutrop survives off organic matter that enters into its eating valve. The valve seals and the matter is slowly digested. A large portion of the glutrop's diet is reliant on the weather, with bloodstorms acting as a less than reliable source of food, as it falls directly into them. The irregular nature of weather, however, is of no concern to the glutrop due to its dual states. The glutrop only moves, eats, and ages while digesting. When there is no more food to digest, the glutrop enters into a version of cryptobiosis, shrinking and drying out slightly, freezing on the spot. Its body also becomes almost indestructible, with strikes from a blade, drops of acid, or attempts of suffocation or crushing doing next to nothing, with no visible effects. The glutrop moves quite quickly while digesting. Some versions, closer to the skeletal regions, have developed a type of spring-loaded motion, coiling their bodies as they enter stasis, so when food arrives in their eating valve, they can immediately launch themselves to their next destination, or edible target. Glutrop group movement is usually a good indicator of changes in weather. The saying goes, glutrops stop, acid rain drops. Glutrops run, bloodstorm comes. There are also other cadaverous critters over on my Patreon to see, like this little guy, whose design might change, with your help. For less than a coffee, you can see even more meat weirdos and support more anatomical art and artists on my Patreon, link in the description. But now, let us push further northeast, where the flesh hardens, tears, and the bones of the world below surge upward. With the east housing most of Eucrasia's enamel caverns and deposits, the skeletal landscape is profoundly dense in this part of Caedus Agros. It is no less harsh than the maroon-colored flesh plains, but here the endurance of the bone rules, and those without cunning or durability are crushed. The bone here is often fused with enamel crags, which cause it to curve or form straight upward in a large spinal column of extra-dense compacted bone. It is far harder than standard bone, which helped guide the evolution of the life forms in this region. The Ood Barn. Standing with the crest of its spine reaching 6'4", the Ood Barn wanders slowly across the skeletal plains and formations, searching for weakened enamel. Dense, flat bone plating protects its soft innards, and a smooth, axe-shaped bone at the base of its strong tail acts as a means of vicious self-defense should a creature attempt to strike its underbelly. The tail is able to swing quickly between its legs like a weighted pendulum to crush the attacker. Its tooth-cased head sits upon a long neck, with the conjoining plate able to twist almost 190 degrees, this being the primary method of the udban to crack open softer formations, using the back of its head like a hammer, before turning back around to use its dexterous pink tongue to slurp up any revealed marrow or vitamin-rich fluids. These creatures travel in groups known as crowns, forming circles around the youngest as they move from enamel crag to crag. These creatures have been tamed by sanguine wranglers, often used to trade to other factions as a means of excavating the ground for mining or construction. Sphenoid. A spherical quadruped that scours the wastes where dead or broken bones pile in gorges or quarries, using its prehensile feet to collect favored bone matter to add to its back. The sphenoid has a soft body mass, but unlike other creatures of the northeast, it is not formed with a protective skeletal layer. To solve this issue, it uses collected bone pieces and attaches them to its core body using plaquium fluid it produces with digested bone meal. Spewing from its proboscis onto the desired bone, it then reaches up and attaches it to its ever-growing wad of skeletal pieces and armoring. The sphenoids seem able to subsist entirely on this bone meal and marrow without hunting or killing for food. However, it has been documented by certain scouts and scholars that sphenoids have been seen killing for amusement. Clutching their legs flat against their form, they can roll down the sweeping curvature of the bone gorges like a dense boulder, crushing anything in their path too weak to endure the striking force. The creatures then leave the bodies to be devoured by scavengers, or in one case, have been seen to clap their feet at one another before repeating the vicious process. The sphenoid is useful for its ability to produce plaquium naturally, a vital building material, one the phlegmat and sanguine often utilize, though domestication or farming of the sphenoid is next to impossible, as it's far less food motivated than other creatures of Catus agros, meaning only cruel or intricate construction activities ever draw its interest. Zilabites. Small swarm scavengers, the zilabite is a master of camouflage and stealth. Its back is a hard enamel shell, shaped like many of the common protrusions that rupture the surface over time in the northeast. Their legs are highly specialized, changing from zilabite to zilabite. Some, in more muscular areas, have legs like chitinous scalpels that slice through flesh with ease, while others have bristle pads that allow them to shuffle quickly across hard cartilage flooring without slipping. All zilabites possess the ability to bury themselves in the ground, only leaving their thick enamel shell jutting outward. Once buried, they use specialized mandibles to gently grab exposed veins like wires, using them as a sensory network for the immediate area around them, at least 7 feet in diameter, which, when an animal or creature presses deep enough into the surface, triggers a sensory response which alerts the zilabite. If the creature stops, the zilabite will surface and check and consume. If not, they may prepare to flee, as some creatures eat them or accidentally kill them, like the udban. They are fast and spawn quickly, but live short lives as well. The klex hound. Humble pack hunters, the klex hound is an adaptable and fearsome predator, despite its average size being up to just below waist height on most celluloids in Eucrasia. The klex hound has a slim frame with hard bumped ridges across its back and a very strong collarbone to absorb any impact it endures when it attacks. The klex hound hunts and kills by using its razor-sharp crescent face, one it keeps sharp by scraping against enamel formations, the landscape, or in territorial fights by clashing against other klex hounds. This crescent head can easily slice through flesh and muscle if the hound is given enough time to gain speed from the chase before lopping off a limb and violently slashing at the now fallen prey, its blood coating the hound, which it absorbs. Their diet of blood means they often travel to the more soft fields of the south to hunt, then returning home to the northeast, where their main pack rests, usually in caves. The klex have been domesticated by some factions, and if given enough blood to survive the trip, have been said to be enhanced in the far-off deserts of the west, as their almost completely skeletal frame allows certain choleric to perform biomancy upon the hound, which, if strong and well trained enough to survive, can gain a specifically designed outer layer, meaning they are one of the few bone-based creatures to be able to travel far beyond their spawning grounds. Biomancied hounds are often kept as guard dogs, scouts, or used in caravan pilgrimages, called grimitars by their creators, as the most favorable biomancied form for these creatures is to add a dense layer of muscle on the outer body while arching the head further back for a more brutal swipe when it attacks, like a reaper's scythe. And that is the northern creatures of Caedus Agros. Hope you guys like this proper installment of a art-based world-building vid. Nashatobi had goddamn knocked it out of the park with this, and I cannot thank him enough. Do check him out, guys. We are both still cooking up some more creatures before heading into factions, cultures, and some key figures that I've already written some scripts for Eucrasia, so stay tuned for that. Thanks again for all your support, and lastly, I'd like you guys to come up with a quick summary of what this guy would be called, eat, and use to defend itself. Anyway, I've been Haunted Picnic, and I'll see you all next time.